Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from not the Commander's Quarter studio. I'm getting too used to saying that now. Again, with the lovely backdrop that I have right here in this room. Again, a big thank you to my friend Garrett for allowing me to record in here. Regardless, this episode is not about my friend Garrett. This episode is about my new friend Simon. Actually, I mean, we haven't actually been acquainted yet, but yeah, there's a brand new I was going to say spoiler, but actually it's a leak technically at this point, I believe, because this has not been officially confirmed by WotC to be an actual card, though it seems incredibly legitimate. And yeah, if I had to bet, I would say that it is. It definitely is a real card in my opinion. But again, take everything I say with a grain of salt. There is a link in the description below to the cards I'm talking about in this episode, and I definitely recommend checking that out. But also, I don't really recommend yet picking up cards for this commander until you are sure that this is real. So whether or not, that means, you're positive yourself, or that, you've actually seen Wizards, confirm that this is real. So yeah, we shall see. Regardless, let's jump into the card. And yeah, this is quite the doozy. Simon, Wild Magic Sorcerer. So, a 1/1 human elf shaman that costs 2 and a blue. And says, whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell with mana value 3 or greater, roll a d20. So, rolling dice is back. Very fitting for Dungeons and Dragons. And yeah, I probably should have mentioned this is like the Universes Beyond Dungeons and Dragons Secret Lair that are going to be reprinted as, actual Magic cards. So, you might want to, if you're like me, and you want a cheaper version of them, maybe hold off until they're reprinted as Magic cards, which should be around the time they come out. Regardless, let's keep going. I just kind of really sidetracked right there. Sorry. If you roll a 1 through 9, each player draws a card. If you roll a 10 through 19, only you draw a card. And if you roll a 20, that's right, a critical roll, copy that spell. You choose targets for the copy. So, essentially, what is going to be happening is that, well, you are going to be casting a lot of instant sorceries that cost 3 or greater. You're going to be rolling a lot of d20s, and you are going to be, well, in some ways hoping for a high number. In other ways, maybe nudging that number ever so slightly to ensure that you get a better, hopefully, outcome. Or at the very least, you've got ways to, even if it is the worst outcome, I guess, again, making everyone draw a card, that you still have ways to take advantage of that more so than your opponents do. And yeah, there's a lot of good. I was going to say good and cool. I said ghoul. A lot of good and cool interactions with this commander from cards that are within my budget buys, that are cards that are less than $1. And then also cards that are in the pricier picks, cards outside of the dollar. And of course, on this episode, I'm going to be taking you through both. So what we're going to be doing, of course, is, talking about some awesome spells to work with this commander. And let's jump into it with the budget buys. So budget buys, again, are going to be cards that are less than $1. Cards are within my budget, even. And to start things off, we're going to be starting off with Pixie Guide. This is the very first card that came to my mind when I saw this commander, and it's one that I hope we see kind of more iterations on in the future because, yeah, rolling dice, I do like that mechanic, and ways to play around with, the actual dice rolling mechanic is really nice. A 1/3 fairy with flying that says if you would roll 1 or more dice, instead roll that many dice plus 1 and ignore the lowest roll. So there are certain times when you might want to roll a certain number with certain cards. This one with the commander, you just want the highest roll you possibly can get generally. So yeah, you usually aren't going to want a 1 through 9. That still will benefit you, obviously. But yeah, a 10 through 19, that's great. Only you're drawing a card. It's essentially turning every single one of your in-sorceries into a cantrip, which I guess it already is, but just a cantrip with no advantage for your opponents. And then if you roll a 20, yeah, copying that spell can be really impactful. Very cool. So again, essentially giving you 2 shots at, a higher number, or, a high number, essentially. So, yeah, being able to just replace a low roll with a high one, that is incredibly impactful. Of course, you are in blue, so although there is, I believe only one Pixie Guide type card, essentially, in mono blue, you can, maybe clone this. You can utilize clone effects, whether that's, clone itself, or, like Cackling Counterpart spells like that. Making clone copies of this would make it so that you can actually get even more dice rolls, I believe. And then you could, every single one of these would stack, right? So yeah, you could get more dice rolls and hopefully get the highest number that you possibly can. So yeah, that can definitely be a very impactful card. Next up, Feywild Trickster. Again, being, being at the position where you can get extra value out of your dice rolls can be a great thing for a commander like this. A 2/2 gnome warlock, whenever you roll one or more dice, well, you're going to make a 1/1 blue fairy dragon creature with flying. So yeah, fill the board up pretty quickly with a bunch of dragon flyers, essentially. There are other, obviously other effects out there where you can, maybe roll dice in different ways. We might talk about some cards here in a bit that can help, get you even more even more tokens out of this. But also, yeah, there's other effects too. Like maybe you got a Total in the Sky Summoner in this deck as well, where, hey, you get even more tokens off of, even just casting any instant sorcery. It doesn't have to be, above 3. Though most of the sorceries and instants in your deck are probably going to be 3 or above. So because of that, we want to get the most value out of them we possibly can, and the most value out of this commander no matter what the situation is. So Thought Reflection can be an absolutely incredible card in this deck. If you would draw a card, draw 2 cards instead. So this is going to double up your card draw no matter if you hit 1 through 10, or if you hit 10 through 19, or whatever is it, 1 through 9, 10 through 19. I'm pretty sure I missaid that at some point. Regardless, it is, 1 through 9, 10 through 19. There we go. So yeah, essentially when you hit those numbers, sure, if you go 1 through 9, your opponent still will draw 1 card, but you at the very least are drawing 2 to their 1 each. And yeah, if you are hitting that, higher number, hey, your opponents get nothing, and you get 2 cards for the price of just casting 1, essentially. So this can be a fantastic trigger to really make the most out of. So yeah, Thought Reflection can be an absolutely incredible card. And of course, this doubles up any other card draw. Maybe you've got, spells that actually draw you cards. Of course, your just regular draw in a turn is going to get doubled up with this. This is a fantastic card for a commander like this. Moving on, Wizards of Thay. An incredible card in a lot of spellslinger decks out there, and one that can be very impactful in this one. A 3/3 with Myriad, so again, when it attacks, you basically get a token, that's tapped and attacking of it, that is an exact copy of it that's attacking the other players. And it says instant sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. You may cast sorcery spells with delayed flash. This helps out in multiple ways, obviously. Basically, giving you flash speed for all your sorceries can be great. You can treat everything as an instant. And also, hey, when you're attacking with this, you're not just getting that 1 cost reduction, but you also get the other 2, right? So essentially, if you are going to be attacking, you'll get, a -3 cost reduction temporarily for all your instant sorceries. And again, when you're casting some really big ones with some really big effects, you can have a really massive impact on the game. Be able to cast more and more of those spells, get your commanders triggered more and more often. This can be a huge value play for you. Because of that, we've got other cost reducers as well that can really help us out, like Mind Splice Apparatus, an artifact with flash. This is the beginning of your upkeep, put an oil counter on it. In sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each oil counter on it. So yeah, I mean, this oil counter obviously is going to just stack. You're going to get more and more of them on there, and you can actually expedite the process too, right? You're in blue. You've got ways to potentially proliferate. That could definitely be something that you could utilize with this, to be able to proliferate, get more counters on this. Maybe have some other counter synergies as well. Regardless, the more and more counters you get on this, the more cost reduction you are getting, which can be a huge impact for you. Again, essentially just taking out all the generic mana cost of some of your, instant sorceries, making it just so you're casting it with blue, essentially, and just casting spell after spell after spell, drawing more and more cards, and going off from there. Maybe having some other Magecraft triggers too. Next up, Arcane Melee. This is a high-risk, high-reward card for a deck like this. In sorcery spells cost 2 less to cast, so instantaneously you are getting a giant amount of cost reduction on your instants and sorceries. And again, when you've got a lot of big ones in this kind of a deck, this can really, really, really just hit a home run for you. Now, that being said, again, there is risk to this because, again, like your commander can benefit your opponents. If you roll 1 through 9, you're going to have them draw cards. This also reduces the cost of their instant sorceries as well. So yeah, keep that in mind. It's not a perfect card, but it is one that, again, can definitely be a big splashy play and can definitely help you out in certain situations. Also, you are in blue. So yeah, there are ways, obviously, to bounce non-land permanents. Very simple ones, too, like an Alchemist Retrieval or whatnot. You could just utilize something like that to actually, if things are getting a bit dicey, yeah, maybe bounce it back to your hand just to kind of, make sure that your opponents aren't getting that benefit when you don't want them to. So yeah, definitely some ways to play around with it. Definitely a riskier card, but one that can have a huge payoff for you in the right situation. Next up, speaking of a huge payoff, with all these cost reducers, cards like Frantic Search can be incredible. Hey, draw 2, discard 2. Also, this costs 3 mana, obviously, so it does trigger your commander. So, hey, either you're going to, copy it, which would be amazing, or you're going to draw an extra card, and your opponent's draw an extra card, or you just draw an extra card. So basically, you're getting, additional card advantage from this. On top of that, it says untap up 3 lands. So, hey, you just get this basically for free. Again, with those cost reducers, you're kind of netting mana with this as well. And obviously, you can net even more mana if you got something like a bounce land in play that can actually tap for, more than 1 mana, like a Guildless Commons, essentially, or Coral Atoll. I think that's the name of the other one. Regardless, you can actually, get even more mana out of something like this and really keep things going, essentially. So yeah, a card like this can be absolutely incredible. And yeah, there's a lot of different really cool, instants and sorceries that cost 3 or more that you can really take advantage of. Like, a deep analysis, an absolutely incredible card. Hey, target player draws 2 cards. Cool. That's nice. It costs 4 mana. If you've got cost reducers, great. But more importantly, it's got flashback for just 1 in a blue and paying 3 life, so you can do it again. And again, this is going to trigger your commander twice because, and I will double check this right now, I don't believe your commander at all. No, your commander does not mention that it has to be from your hand, right? Whenever you cast instant sorcery spell with mana value 3 or greater, it doesn't mention where it's coming from. As long as you cast it, you get that trigger. So yeah, casting something like deep analysis, which you can cast twice, you can get twice as much value out of something like this. And speaking of value, Treasure Cruise, an absolutely incredible card. Banned in certain formats, I believe. But yeah, it costs 8 mana in total, so definitely meets that requirement. But it has delves, so you can get rid of cards in your graveyard to actually pay for that cost, and then draw 3 cards. So yeah, you can basically just cast this a lot of the time for just a single blue mana, draw 3. Obviously, it's going to trigger your commander as well. So this could be just a draw 4 for a single blue mana, or draw 6 if you copy it, which is insane. So yeah, this, plus a bunch of other, effects, you can get other triggers going too, and just have some really, really cool plays. And we'll talk about some of those triggers in our pricier picks because, yeah, there's a lot of exciting cards that work really well with this commander that, well, are unfortunately outside of my budget, but they might be inside of your budget, so I want to bring them up here. And again, as a quick reminder, there is a list of all these cards link in the there's a link to the list of the cards in the description below. There we go. Let's jump into the first card, though, Jace's Sanctum. I am very sad to say that this card is no longer budget friendly. I don't even remember when this happened. It happened, I think, a couple months ago, not too long ago. But yeah, I basically was just like, just doing my regular searches on Scryfall, and it's like, okay, I was looking for something that reduced the cost of instant sorceries, and I was like, oh yeah, Jace's Sanctum. Where's Jace's Sanctum? Where's Jace's Sanctum? Because I always do like my USD minus $1. So yeah, less than $1. Jace's Sanctum is a great card. Instant sorcery spells cost 1 to cast. Whenever you cast instant sorcery spell, scry 1. So yeah, again, cost reduction plus card selection for you as well. A fantastic card, especially with a commander like this. Again, you're casting a spell, you're getting that trigger, you're saying, okay, cool, let me look at the top card first, then I can decide if I want to draw it or not, essentially. And I'm going to get that card drawn because of my commander's trigger, at least most of the time, right? And so yeah, I'm just sad to say that this is not budget friendly right now, at least for myself. Wizards, please reprint it, is a fantastic card. And again, another great cost reducer to add to, the already a great amount of cost reducers that you've got access to no matter what your budget is. Next up, we got Primal Amulet, an artifact for 4 instant sorcery spells you cast cost once to cast. So again, another cost reducer. But on top of that, whenever you're casting instant sorcery spells, you get charge counters on it. If there are 4 or more, you transform it and it turns into Primal Wellspring. So yes, the front side, again, is cost reduction, which can be great. The backside, though, can have even more impact. Tap for 1 mana of any color. Essentially, when that mana is spent to cast instant sorcery, you copy it, choose targets for the copy. So yeah, basically an automatic guarantee copy just for utilizing this as a land. So that can have a massive impact, especially with a lot of spells. Again, picture that Treasure Cruise, right? Basically, casting it for just a single blue mana, which can just be the blue that you use from this, right? Casting it, drawing 3, doubling it up, drawing 3 more. Maybe you even double it with your commander as well. Maybe you get lucky and roll that 20. Maybe you get the Pixie Guide in play, or even just drawing an extra card with it as well can just be huge. So yeah, this can just lead to some really massive plays. You can do some pretty just disgusting things as well. If you end up, maybe going in extra turns direction with this commander, which could be a possibility, because extra turn spells are, more than 3 mana for the most part. I think basically all of them except for Time Walk, which is banned. But yeah, they're all basically 3 or more mana, so that'll meet the requirement. And if you have ways, again, to maybe get more Pixie Guides in play, make sure that you can keep copying them and have more copy effects like this. Some pretty disgusting things can happen. But yeah, just regularly with just some very powerful spells, you can get a lot of value out of something like this. Speaking of value, Teferi's Aegis Insight, I won't spend too much time on this one because it's basically a better thought reflection. Well, at least when it comes to the amount of mana that you spend for it, okay? It is 4 mana versus 7. So this one says if you draw a card, except the first one you draw on each of your draw steps, draw 2 cards instead. So thought reflection, technically better if they're both in play, right? Because thought reflection doubles up every single one of your card draw, including the first card you draw on a turn, right? Your actually, just draw step card. This one does not double up that one, but it doubles up everything else. And again, you're going to be drawing an absurd amount of cards outside of just the regular card you draw each turn. So yeah, this one is just better in a lot of situations because, hey, you can get it down earlier, you can get more benefit out of it quicker. So yeah, a great card. Archmage Emeritus. Speaking of which, goodness gracious, I would love to see this card reprinted. It has not been budget for quite some time. Magecraft, whenever you cast in sorcery spell, cast or copy in sorcery spell, draw a card. So yeah, again, if you've got other ways to copy spells, or maybe you're just getting, your commander's trigger and hitting that 20 every now and then, you're getting some extra card draw out of that. You're just getting extra card draw every single time you cast instant or sorcery spell with this in play. So you're just getting additional value alongside your commander. It's just absolutely incredible. So yeah, a great card, and one that, again, I really hope to see reprinted at some point. Please, Wizards, please do it. Anyways, Shark Typhoon, a great card. One that I don't think has ever been budget friendly. I don't know if it ever will be, because I don't know if they're going to reprint this. It's kind of a hard, it's a very specific kind of setting with a Shark Typhoon. Only so many sets can actually utilize a card like this. Hopefully we see a reprint, maybe a commander set. It's a great one, though. When you cast a non-creature spell, you get an XX blue shark creature with flying, where XX spells convert mana cost, because of course, sharks fly, right? There you go. So yeah, basically being able to, again, get more benefits out of your big non-creature spells. So this counts anything, instant sorceries, enchantments, etc., etc. But yeah, again, with your big instant sorceries, again, picture that treasure cruise, that 8 mana treasure cruise. Cool. Let's make an 8/8 flying blue shark. Have fun with that. So yeah, it can be a great card in this deck and giving you extra value from basically many of the things you're going to be casting. Next up, Melodic Summonings. It could even give you benefits from casting this, though this can't give you benefits for casting that. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, get an XX colorless construct where X is that spell's mana value. So very similar to that, but again, specific to instant sorceries. But again, you're going to be running an absurd amount of instant sorceries in this deck. And this can help you out in another way too. By paying 5 mana, you exile it, return all instant sorcery cards from your graveyard to your hand, activate them if you control 6 or more artifacts. This obviously can add to your artifact count throughout the game. You've got other ways to make artifacts essentially. Yeah, playing mana rocks and whatnot. But yeah, once you get to that point where you're like, you know what? Okay, I've got enough value of this. I got enough creatures and play with this. Let's just get rid of this and then get all my instant sorceries back to my hand. And of course, that can just lead to some absurd turns, some insane turns, especially in combination with, again, those mana reducers, like a arcane melee, etc., etc. So yeah, you can have some absurd turns with this. This can actually just help you win the game on its own just by being in play throughout the game. So this can be absolutely a great card. And again, like I mentioned, Temporal Trespass, extra turn spells can be very good with this commander. This one does cost 11 mana, but again, like Treasure Cruise, it does have Delve. So we can basically just say, those spells that we were casting, and maybe looting into our graveyard like a Frantic Search, let's just utilize those to pay for 8 of this mana, essentially, or whatever, reduction, we also have on top of it. And then just, pay blue. Let's take an extra turn for this one, exile it. Oh, our commander, did it copy it? Oh, it copied it. Okay, let's take 2 extra turns. Yeah, there's a lot of great extra turn spells. Again, that's definitely a direction you could take this commander. Again, you could, just get lucky and get extra turns, copied with your commander itself. You can get more pixie guides in play potentially to try to, ensure that happens more often. You could have other copy spells, etc., etc. You can do a lot of really exciting things, and yeah, extra turns is a pretty disgusting and powerful one that you can do with this commander. Speaking of disgusting and powerful, even like a Fierce Guardianship can give you extra value with this commander, which is just gross. It's already a gross and powerful card. If you control your commander, cast a spell without paying its mana cost, counter target non-creature spell, basically a negate for free in commander. And again, it is going to trigger your commander because it doesn't say on your commander like, hey, to just spend 3 mana. No, it just says when you cast an instant sorcery spell with mana value 3 or greater, which you are doing, you get to roll that d20. So yeah, again, you just cast your Fierce Guardianship for free. Your opponent's like, oh, let's try to destroy your commander. And you're like, nope, for free I will do this. And you know what? Let's roll some dice and see what happens. Cool, get to draw a card. Great. So yeah, definitely another great card for this kind of a commander, and one that is quite expensive, and for many reasons, it's a great card. So yeah, that was basically, again, my budget buys and my pricier picks for Simon Wild Magic Sorcerer. A really interesting commander. I like this take. I like that rolling of the dice. I do hope we see more interactions with kind of rolling in dice, coming up in the future at some point. If you have another full D&D set, I'm sure we will. And yeah, again, make sure you check out that card list link in the description below. Again, I will reiterate, this is a leak. To my knowledge, it has not been confirmed yet, so maybe hold off on picking up some of those cards. But yeah, once you're positive that it's an actual card, or once it's actually spoiled and confirmed by Wizards, then yeah, go for it. Yeah, definitely an exciting commander. You can do a lot of exciting things with, a lot of powerful things with too. A lot of really cool interactions. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Simon Wild Magic Sorcerer. It's a great card. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on it. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. And also, stay tuned for more quick takes and spoilers and events and my other ones. Make sure you check those out. But yeah, I probably should have ended with my normal sign off. So I'll say it again. Have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.